So the other day, Sony did something I did not expect them to ever do again, kind of. They announced a handheld game system, and as someone who absolutely adored the PSP, who adored the PlayStation Vita, I was immediately excited. I saw these pictures and I thought, it's a little ugly, but hey, a handheld PlayStation, I might be into this. This might actually be exciting. But then you watch the video and you find out this thing is called Project Q, and what it is a remote play handheld. All this thing is apparently able to do is play the games on your PlayStation 5 and stream them to this. This is effectively a wireless monitor with a controller that you just use over the internet. Now you can do this in your house. I presume you can do this remotely, so on a different internet connection, although I would imagine that the latency gets much worse in that situation versus being in the same home. So at that point, my interest in the device dropped to effectively zero because you have to have a PlayStation 5, and I don't have a PlayStation 5, and I'm certainly not going to buy one to use this handheld. But I kept thinking about this thing because it's such an interesting and odd idea, such an odd device for Sony to create. It's an accessory for your PlayStation 5. But what's really weird to me is that there's a remote play app for your phone. So you could just have a phone and a controller grip and do the same thing. Granted, the screen won't be as big. You could do a tablet then, a tablet that's, got LTE or something like that, whatever. Like you could do this with a device you already have and a $50 to $100 controller grip, theoretically. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you have to have a Sony-specific controller grip or something, but take a DualShock controller with you and pair it to your phone. Surely that's a thing that they allow you to do. At any rate, you kind of get my point. Why would someone necessarily buy? I mean, I guess this is for the most super fan of PlayStation, but for most people, your phone's going to be able to do this kind of thing already for you. But again, then that got me thinking another step further, another layer deeper. You see, because there's this company who rivals Sony with their PlayStation, a little company called Microsoft, and they make this thing called the Xbox. But they have a very interesting service called Xbox Game Pass, and if you have the ultimate version of it, which is $15 a month, you can stream games to any phone that you want, and you don't even have to actually own that game, nor do you have to own any console. You simply pay the subscription, and there are hundreds of games that are accessible to you at that point. You can stream them to any phone. And in my experience, the latency on it is fairly decent. I don't know what it's like on the PlayStation Remote Play. I would assume that if it's your PlayStation at your house, your phone is at your house, same connection. I would assume it's kind of like using Moonlight to stream your PC games, and that the latency is probably really, really negligible at that point. So there probably is an advantage there for PlayStation. But once you leave your house, I guess it's probably fairly similar at that point in terms of latency. But at any rate, Microsoft has Game Pass, and they can stream games without you having to own a console. So that is definitely a big advantage. And Microsoft also has something that should have been an advantage in this as well. If we're talking about Sony has Project Q, what does Microsoft have? Well, they have had something for a couple of years that they should have been marketing, they should have been promoting as the perfect Microsoft, not just Microsoft, but Xbox accessory, the Surface Duo. And that's kind of what this video is going to be about. The absolute massive missed opportunity marketing the Surface Duo as the Xbox companion. The phone that an Xbox superfan should have been using. So before we go any deeper, I know people are going to say, but Shane, Microsoft marketed Surface Duo as a phone for professionals getting things done. They wouldn't want to split their messaging and say it's for professionals and for gamers. And my pushback to this is, no, they didn't. They didn't market Surface Duo at all. You could choose to market it as for professionals, but did you see those advertisements on television? Did you see those pre-roll ads on YouTube? No, you did not. You have made this up in your head. They did not market the device at all. That might have been successful. It almost certainly would have been more successful than doing what they did do, which was nothing. What I'm saying in this video is that they could have marketed it this way as well. And in the early days of Surface Duo, those original videos, they sure did make sure you saw some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about, but then they never talked about it again. They never supported it again. In fact, the Game Pass app has been kind of broken on Surface Duo for well over a year now. And that is kind of what we're going to hone in on, the massive failure here to do this at all. And yes, I also know the Surface Duo is considerably more expensive than what Project Q is likely to cost. This was a $1,000+ phone. Project Q, I hope, costs no more than like $150 or $200 for a device that can only remote play. If it's any more than $200, that's going to be insane. I know that there is a rather large price difference there, but I don't think that matters because they are such different things. We're talking about a device in Surface Duo that could do all of the cool remote play stuff, but could also do a million other things. It replaces your phone. So I'm not concerned about the price here. What I'm getting at is that Sony has Project Q. Microsoft should have had an end-all, be-all Microsoft Xbox phone that could also have been doing this sort of Project Q stuff for 2 years already, in addition to a million other things. So what is it about Surface Duo that makes Game Pass, their version of what Project Q is doing, better than it is on any other phone? Well, it's really obvious. It's the fact that it has 2 screens. You can do a lot of things with this. Thing number 1 is that you can launch into Game Pass and span that app across both screens, fire up a cloud streaming session, and have customized controls on one screen and the game on the other. You don't need a controller at that point. The controller is your touchscreen, and it works on some games surprisingly well. Games like Minecraft Dungeons, for instance, are going to be more than playable being played that way. Now, there's an alternative to this as well. You could have the Game Pass streaming game on one screen and have whatever app you want on the other screen. Perhaps you are watching your favorite YouTuber on the top screen while you are gaming, again, using the touch screen or attaching a gamepad grip like something that Nacom makes. They have this RGX, which is very, very good. They also have a Pro version, which is awesome. GameSir has a whole bunch of options. All of these things work straight out of the box. So it can do all that cloud gaming stuff, but you can do that cloud gaming stuff with no controller, with the controller, with a second app on the other screen. How cool would it have been if Microsoft, I don't know, did something really aggressive and partnered with OBS to have like a customized version of OBS for Surface Duo? You could be streaming from your Surface Duo. Your control center for your stream on the top screen and your game on the bottom screen. You're triaging your chat while you're gaming mobily right there on your device. You're playing PUBG Mobile or whatever the kids are playing these days, which runs great on this device. How cool would that have been? They could have produced a special edition of Surface Duo that was maybe like a different shade of black, and instead of having the Windows logo on the back was an Xbox logo or something like that. They could have leaned into this gaming thing, and it could have been, let's be honest, kind of cool. They could have made their own controller grip specifically for Surface Duo, but they didn't do anything. They didn't even maintain the app. If you launch the standard Game Pass app on your Surface Duo, it will crash. You have to install the beta version, and that has been the case for over a year. There has been zero effort put forth in this direction, and it's just a shame. Microsoft has this really, really good game streaming service that is an incredible value. They have a phone which utilizes this game streaming app in a unique way with more capabilities right out of the box than any other device, and they saw fit to do absolutely nothing with it. Yes, I'm aware that you could make a very similar statement about a lot of things regarding Surface Duo. It was really good at this thing, no effort was made. That's just kind of the story of Surface Duo. It appears to have been backburnered for the last 6-8 months plus at this point. The updates are trickling out with no significant changes, and it is unclear when major software upgrades are ever going to come to this device. It appears as though Microsoft, in a big way, is moving on to whatever is next, and it's not going to be a dual screen device, and that's just depressing all around. Guys, even though this video was a little bit of a bummer and a little bit of a rant, hopefully it was cathartic for some of you guys. It would have been really interesting to see Microsoft do the things I'm talking about, or at least try some of them perhaps. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this. Subscribe for more content just like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.